my little Margie. I've been both mother and father to her since she was born. She's grown up now, and you think my job's all done, eh? Well, that's what you think. When she was little, I could spank her and make her mind me. I had control over her. I made her eat her spinach, no candy before meals. And when she disobeyed, I took her roller skates away for a week. But what can you do when a girl reaches this age? She's completely out of hand. I've got a problem, believe me. I've got a problem.
That's my father. I've raised him from childhood. That is, my childhood. He's nearly 50 now, and you'd think he'd settle down, wouldn't you? Well, that's what you think. Today, he looks better in shorts on a tennis court than fellas 25. Girls wink at him, and what's worse, he winks back at them. I want a nice, old, comfortable father. I try to look after him, but he just won't settle down. I've got a problem, believe me, I've got a problem.
Wow! Oh.
Margie, have you spoken to your father yet about taking you to the beach?
I'm afraid to ask, Dad. You know what he'll ask him to take a day off from the office.
Margie, if I've told you once, I've told you 100 times. Business comes first, social pleasure's second.
Margie, men who are all wrapped up in business need to be treated subtly if you want them to do something for you.
Well, what do you mean?
Well, my first husband was in the boat business, so I talked to him subtly about navigation and geography, figuring he would take me on a boat trip to the Mediterranean.
Did it work?
No. I discovered after we were married that he was in the gravy boat business.
Dad's coming.
Honey, Mrs. Odette, I'm late, honey. I've got to be running along.
Oh, Dad, are you going to work?
Am I going to work? What do you think today is? Sunday?
Oh, I just had the crazy idea you might like to go somewhere and escape the heat.
Oh, it's not that hot, Margie. Well, goodbye, dear. I've got to be running along.
Dad! Why don't you stay home from the office today?
Margie, for your information, today just happens to be Wednesday.
Oh, couldn't you take the day off so we could go to the beach together the way we used to?
Margie, I happen to be executive vice president of Honeywell and Todd, and I can't take a day off every time the Spirit moves you.
Why are you being so stubborn?
If I've told you once, I've told you 100 times. Business comes first, and social pleasure's second.
Well, it's about time you got out of first and shifted into second.
Very good, Margie.
Mrs. Odette, this discussion is between Margie and me, and I don't need a rooting section. Margie, if you want me to take you to the beach, you'll have to wait until Saturday or Sunday. I can't take a day off in the middle of the week.
Now I've heard everything. An executive vice president who can't take a day off. You're just a slave to your office, chained to your desk. The only thing you're interested in is helping those coupon clippers.
Very good, Margie.
There you go again.
Mr. Arbor, I am old enough to go whenever I choose.
You're right. I'm sorry I spouted off like that. I hope I didn't upset you.
Oh, nonsense, Margie. You've opened my eyes. Maybe you've got something there. In all the time that I've worked for Mr. Honeywell, I've only taken one day off, and then I had to bring a note from the doctor. Margie, I'm going to call Mr. Honeywell and inform him that I'm not coming into work today.
Well, what excuse are you going to give him?
I'll tell him, I'll say, Mrs. Odette, have you got any little white lies?
No, but I got a big black one.
Well, never mind. I'll think of something. Hello? Hello, Mr. Honeywell. This is Vern.
All right, don't tell me you're going to be late.
No, Mr. Honeywell.
Good. Yeah. What? You're not coming in?
Mr. Honeywell, I've got an awful headache. It must be the heat. Yes, Mr. Honeywell. I won't forget. I'll bring a note from the doctor. Goodbye. Margie, get your bathing suit and we'll go to the beach.
Just be a second, Dad. Well, what beach are we going to?
Well, how about Secret Cove? When you were a kid, we used to have a lot of fun down there together.
Good deal. Would you like to join us, Mrs. Odette?
Thank you, child. But the beach is filled with too many memories. You know, I met my second husband there.
Really?
On our first date, we went for a ride on the roller coaster, and he decided to step out on the observation platform.
But Mrs. Odette, there's no observation platform on a roller coaster.
That is exactly what I leaned out and yelled down to him.
Oh, Mrs. Odette.
Well, welcome to Honeywell and Todd, Miss Fairbanks.
Yes, I think you'll do very nicely. Thin lips, crooked nose, small beady eyes, receding hairline. Yes, you're just homely enough.
I beg your pardon.
Oh, please don't be insulted. But a woman in my position just can't be too careful. You see, it's been my experience that good-looking men make very poor business executives. Generally, they're irresponsible and spend too much time outside of the office.
Miss Fairbanks, you've come to the right place. Rest assured, Honeywell and Todd have the ugliest investment brokers in New York.
I'm very glad to hear that, Mr. Albright.
I am not Mr. Albright. I am Mr. Honeywell. This is Mr. Albright.
Oh, no, he won't do at all. He's much too handsome.
That picture was taken before the truck hit him. But take my word for it. Mr. Albright is industrious, bright, hardworking, and you'll always find him on the job.
Good. Would you introduce him to me now, please?
Well, you see, he didn't come in today.
Not in on Wednesday, the middle of the week?
No, he's home with a headache. Could I help you?
No, I've had explicit instructions to deal only with Mr. Albright, provided, of course, that he's a businessman, not a playboy. Could you get him on the phone now?
Certainly, Miss Fairbanks. You'll find Mr. Albright leads an exemplary life. He's a real family man. That's strange. Oh, we probably went to the doctor's. Miss Fairbanks, why don't you go back to your hotel, and I'll call you as soon as I reach Mr. Albright.
Very well, Mr. Honeywell. Pardon me, do you happen to have Mr. Albright's home address?
Why, yes, he lives in the Carlton Arms on East 57th Street.
Thank you very much.
See if you can reach Albright at the barber shop or his club. I'll try him at the Turkish Bath. Miss Fairbanks wants to see him right away.
It won't be necessary to call Mr. Honeywell. I just gave Miss Fairbanks Mr. Albright's address. She's on her way over there now.
Oh, no.
Can I help you?
I'm looking for Mr. Albright.
My, you're the prettiest caller he's had in years.
Oh?
But don't let his white hair fool you. Just because there's snow on the roof don't mean the furnace is out in the basement.
There's more to Mr. Albright than meets the eye. Could you tell me what time he's due back from the doctor's? I understand he has a headache.
Headache? Nonsense. That's just an old chestnut he used to get out of work. He went to the beach.
The beach?
Yes, he and Margie went down to Secret Cove. Can I do something for you?
Oh, no, thank you. I'm going down to Secret Cove and see just how much of a playboy he really is.
All right. Oh. Miss Odette, I'm looking for Mr. Albright.
My, what a small world. I thought he was over in his apartment with a headache.
So did I, but old Silverlocks must be a quick heel. Did you see him leave?
Mr. Honeywell, do you think all I do is to peek through keyholes?
That and an occasional transom or two. Won't you tell me where he went?
Strange. A pretty young lady asked me the same question a few minutes ago.
Oh, that was Norma Fairbanks. Tell me, where did the pretty young lady go?
Well, she went down to Secret Cove to see Mr. Albright and Margie. You see, me and my big mouth. I get rid of it, except it's such a handy place to keep my teeth.
When catch up with Albright, he'll really have a headache.
Looks like Secret Cove's going to be a real interesting place today.
I don't know about you, Margie, but that swim tired me out.
Oh, me too. I think I'll take a sun bath.
Terribly sorry if I got sand all over you.
Oh, it didn't bother me a bit. I love sand. I remember when I was a kid, I used to eat the sand and throw away the spinach.
You don't mind if I sit down here, do you?
Oh, not at all. It's my pleasure.
Huh? Thank you so much, Mr.
I'm Vern Albright.
You can call me Norma. Oh, please continue with your reading. I didn't mean to bother you.
Oh, but you do.
How makes you say that to every girl?
Well, not every girl wears such a pretty bathing suit.
Mr. Albright, I intend to come down to the beach quite often in the next 2 days. Will I be seeing you again?
Oh, of course, I can come down any time.
Don't you work?
Oh, after a fashion. You see, I happen to be an executive vice president, and I can take a day off any time I want to.
Oh.
I'm not one of those investment brokers that's a slave to his office, chained to his desk, worrying about coupon clippers. I live.
What was that, Dad?
Oh, Margie. Norma, this is my daughter, Margie.
How do you do?
Dad, did I hear you just say that...
Norma, I didn't realize it was so late. How about a bite of lunch?
On one condition, that it's my treat.
Well, all right.
I'll run and get some soda pop and sandwiches and be right back.
Oh, fine.
Dad, how can you say all that to that girl? You only met her now.
Well, I just remembered what you said.
Oh, changed your tune, huh?
Well...
Margie! Margie!
Oh, my God, I'm sorry.
Oh, Mrs. Odette, what are you doing here?
I had to come down and warn you. Mr. Honeywell is on his way down here.
Mrs. Odette, you didn't.
I did.
You didn't.
I did.
For goodness sakes, what didn't you did?
I didn't realize what I was saying until it was too late. I told Mr. Honeywell you were down here at Secret Cove.
You didn't.
I did.
Oh, we won't have time to go through that again. Look.
Oh, Margie, why did we ever come down here to the ocean?
If you ask me, Dad, we're up a creek.
Oh, I'm going to change my clothes. We've got to get out of here before Mr. Honeywell finds us. I'll meet you back here in 5 minutes.
aren't you dressed?
Honeywell was in the bathhouse. He almost caught me.
We can't stay here. We're bound to be seen.
Well, I can't go without my clothes. There must be some way to avoid Honeywell.
Well, what steps shall we take?
I would suggest long ones. Mr. Honeywell is headed this way.
Dad, I've got an idea. Lie down in the sand. Now keep perfectly still.
Margie, where's your father? Mrs. Odette's told me. Mrs. Odette's, what are you doing here?
Mr. Honeywell, would you believe I came down to the beach to get a suntan?
Frankly, no. Margie, didn't I see your father sitting here a minute ago?
Dad, here? Ridiculous.
It must have been me you saw.
I could have sworn I saw a patch of white hair.
It must have been me you saw.
This person was wearing trunks.
Oh, well, 2 out of 3 isn't bad.
I'm certain I saw Albright here, and when I lay my hands on him...
Speaking of Europe.
Were we?
We weren't, huh?
I was speaking about your father.
Speaking about my father who wishes he were in Europe.
If you ask me, you're acting mighty suspiciously, Margie. And you too, Mrs. Odette, what are you up to?
Well, I haven't said a word.
And if your father's pulling any shenanigans, he's going to pick up his next check at the Unemployment Bureau. I don't know where your father's hiding, but believe me, I'm going to find him.
That was a narrow escape, Mr. Albright.
Margie, you and Mrs. Odette keep your eye on Honeywell. I'll stay and gather up the things and meet you in the locker room.
Oh, Vern, you're not leaving, are you? I brought the sandwiches.
Well, I really have to. Something just came up.
Oh, could it be business?
Oh, no, of course not.
Well, you can't let me eat alone. Please stay and have a sandwich with me, please.
Well, I guess one sandwich wouldn't take too long.
Oh, fine.
Margie, that girl with your father, I've seen her before.
Really?
She came to the apartment this morning asking for your father.
I wonder what she's up to.
Well, stop wondering and start worrying. Mr. Honeywell's coming.
Margie!
Mr. Honeywell, you again.
I'm still looking for your father. And if he's on the beach, I'll find him now. I can't believe it. Margie, take a look. What do you see?
Sand and water. What did you expect?
I must be crazy. I could swear I saw Abraham Lincoln on the beach.
Mr. Honeywell, do you feel all right?
No, I believe I have a little fever.
Oh, you never should have exposed yourself to so much sun the first day at the beach.
Margie, I think Mr. Honeywell should go home as soon as possible.
Oh, the little Bobbsey twins. Up to your tricks again.
I don't know what you mean, Mr. Honeywell.
Margie, you had me fooled with that magazine. Just as I thought. There's your father.
I can explain everything, Mr. Honeywell.
What's there to explain? Your father's a genius.
He is? Oh, I mean, he is.
Do you know who that girl is? That's Norma Fairbanks. Why, we've been after her investment business for years. This morning, Miss Fairbanks had practically no use for him. Now it looks like he's closed the deal.
Now, let me understand this. This morning she was mad at Dad?
Yes, when he didn't show up at the office today, she thought he was more of a playboy than a businessman.
Playboy?
But there's nothing to worry about. She wanted to make sure that your father had an eye for business and not for girls.
Excuse us, Mr. Honeywell. Look at him. Poor Dad doesn't know Norma's a client, and he's walked right into her trap. Right now, he's hanging himself.
Yes, but what a pleasant way to go.
I'm forced Dad to take the day off. This wouldn't have happened. I've got to get him out of this.
But how?
Margie, I think I've got it. The hero routine. We'll make your father out a hero in front of Norma. No girl ever forgets a hero.
Well, do you think it'll work?
Well, I've never forgotten Rodney. We were together at the beach, and a handsome lifeguard flirted with me. And Rodney got so jealous, he started to fight the lifeguard, who was 6'4".
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's find a lifeguard.
You're different from most businessmen I know, Vern. They eat business, drink business, and sleep business.
Oh, how dull. If I've said it once, I've said it 100 times. Social pleasure first and business second.
Why, Vern, you sound as though you don't like work.
Oh, on the contrary, I just love going to work and coming home from work. It's the stuff in between that I hate.
Doesn't your boss object to take that time off?
Oh, what he doesn't know won't hurt him. He thinks I'm at home with a headache.
And you don't have a headache.
No, but one of these days I'm liable to have one, and I'll have to think up a new excuse.
I'm very glad we had this little talk, Vern. I've learned a lot.
I wouldn't have missed it for the world. Believe me, Norma, I'd much rather be here with you than in my office with those stuffy old clients.
Well,
What's that for?
that, Mr. Albright, is for calling me a stuffy old client. I'm Norma Fairbanks. I intended to turn over all my investments to you, but I had to check on you first. Thanks so much for telling me what I wanted to know. Good day.
Now, Bruce, I hope you've got everything straight. You see that girl going up the stairs? Well, she's the one.
I got you, Miss Albright.
Now, there mustn't be any slip-ups. This has got to work.
Right.
Come on. Dad, we saw everything that happened, but don't worry. Mrs. Odette's and I have a plan.
Margie, was your plan to go to the beach in the first place?
Dad, please listen. We figured out a way for you to patch things up with Norma. We're going to make you a hero.
A knight in shining armor.
Now, when Norma comes out of the locker room, a lifeguard will start flirting with her.
Then, Mr. Albright, you'll march up to him and paste him one on the button.
Say, which Mr. Albright are you talking about?
It's all fixed. All you have to do is throw one punch and the lifeguard will fall down as arranged.
Well, in that case, lead me to him. Never let it be said that Vernon Albright is afraid to face a man with muscle, particularly when he isn't going to use them.
Ah, you leaving so soon?
Yes.
Here, let me take that for you. Pretty girl like you shouldn't have to carry anything.
Well, thank you, but never mind.
Oh, I don't mind.
Will you give that back to me?
Lady, is this jerk bothering you?
Yes, I want him to give me back my bag.
You heard the lady. Give it back.
Who's going to make me?
Me.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Next dive I take will be in the ocean.
I'll walk you down to your car.
May I have my bag, please? I'm quite capable of carrying it myself.
A pretty lady like you needs protection. Let's go.
If you don't give me my bag and leave me alone, I shall have to call a policeman.
Miss Fairbanks, is this man bothering you?
Yes, he is.
You heard what the lady said, wise guy. Beat it. I said scram. Oh, so you want to play rough, eh?
What a bunch of punch-happy guys.
Oh, Dad, are you all right?
Wow, what a right cross.
Miss Fairbanks, I regret that you were involved in a common street brawl with that playboy employee of mine. He'd be a disgrace to Honeywell and Todd if he were still working for us.
What?
You heard me. As of now, all sacked, dismissed, bounced, fired, canned. And if I've overlooked anything, Miss Fairbanks, you name it and he'll get it.
Mr. Honeywell, how can you say such terrible things about this courageous man who single-handedly tried to protect me from that brute?
What?
What?
Me too.
Mr. Honeywell, I'm turning over my business investments to your firm, but only because of Vern.
I've always said that Vern had a good head on his shoulders. He's got good ideas. He's got a good mind.
But, Mr. Honeywell, you just said that I was sacked, dismissed, bounced, fired, canned.
Did I say that?
You know, Margie, what happened just now reminds me of what my fourth husband used to say.
Yes, Mrs. Odette?
Never try to figure out a woman.
Chin still hurt, Dad?
Oh, one favor, honey. The next time you're going to make me look like a hero, have an ambulance waiting.
I'm sorry you got conked, but you'll have to admit it all worked out beautifully. You had a nice day at the beach. You made a big hit with Miss Fairbanks.
Oh, you're absolutely right, honey. And any time I let you talk me into something and nothing happens, except that I almost get fired and end up with only a mild concussion, well, that's my little Margie.